Okay.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to STEMGo, saving time, energy, and money, or even making the most of your time, energy, and money. Actually, it's not always saving. Sometimes it's about being efficient, effective. Sometimes it's about making more of what you've got. And so this show is a great show for you to come in and learn some great tools from great people who are already in business. And, I've got great things going on in terms of how they use their time, money, and energy wisely to make the most of it. So I've got a special guest in today. As always, these shows are full of talent. My special guest today is Chantal Vanderhaeghen. Did I pronounce that okay, Miss Chantal?
Yes, you did, but I will just, it's about, sorry to interrupt you, but it's actually Chantal. And it took me a long time to be able to correct people, because I actually feel uncomfortable with the name.
Yeah, it is, because there's all kinds of ways you can say Chantal.
And you spell it in all sorts of different ways too. You should see what spellings I've had. Really interesting.
I can imagine. I'm not a big one for being able to pronounce names. I'm the first to admit that, but I do my best. And it's a wonderful to have you on the show and to be able to talk to you at last, because we've spoke a lot but not really met each other as face to face yet. So I'm really glad that we've got the chance to have a chat with each other on this show.
Me too.
So tell us, for our audiences, where you are in the world and what it is that you get up to in your business.
Well, at present, I'm living in Perth, Western Australia. In fact, up in the hills of Perth, which I thought I'd never do because I was such a city girl. Yeah. And so for me to live in the hills was a really interesting journey to come to. Absolutely love it, because what it does is I'm an intuitive guide and mindfulness coach. And again, quite difficult to use those words because I teach meditation, tapping, I'm a Reiki master. So how do you bring that all together and to describe to people what you do? And I also actually have a natural skincare range as well. So for me, it's about a fusion of beauty, mind and soul. But why I've been really appreciating living in the hills, because it really helps me practice what I preach about stillness, about being quiet, about peace.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds awesome. You're getting up to a lot of different things there, eh?
Yes, I do. And you know what's been interesting, for coming back to what we've been talking about, I've had to actually narrow it down because I get so excited, which I think a lot of us do. I mean, I've been in business for quite a few years and you narrow it down, but there's still a lot we can do. So I've had to really work out, okay, what am I going to focus on now only? And that is where the meditation and things come in to help me do that.
Yeah, what came first for you? I know we're going to talk a lot more about productivity and how you managed to be productive, given that there's all that going on in your business. But what did you first start out doing? What was your first kind of business in all that?
Well, interesting you say that. When I first came back to Australia, which was many years ago, 25 years ago, my mother was here back in Australia, and she was doing Reiki. And we all thought, oh my God, Mum, what are you doing? Whereas now it's, everyone knows about Reiki. So that's actually what got me started. And then I had not a good experience in the business world, and per chance, a long story, that's a whole nother story, I ended up doing my clinical aromatherapy certificate for. And then I became a massage practitioner with facials, Reiki, essential oils. And then that's how I got into doing my skincare range. And then that then developed into my Unfold Your Freedom, where I do the meditation. So in a nutshell.
Yeah. Lovely. Nice progression. So in terms of being able to do so much and kind of skill yourself up in lots of different ways, what would you like to share today in terms of what you do and how you've managed to do so much? What are the key things for you that you think have made the difference in terms of whether it's managing money, time, or energy better for you?
Do you know what? It's managing my time. Actually, not even my time, it's actually managing my thoughts. Because I actually did something came up a while ago, and I did a blog on this about when you manage your thought, you manage your time, you manage your time, you manage your thoughts. Yeah. So really for me, it was actually managing not only my thoughts, but the type of thoughts that I had. Because a lot of us work with negativity, not feeling enough, and, hello. And then there's that side of excitement where, I want to show you everything I do, blah, 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 and you go on this rant, and people are going, it only took me now, they're going, oh my God, what's she talking about? Because there's an energy that comes in with that actually can put people off.
Yes. So managing time enables you to be have a better awareness and a better understanding in terms of what you're thinking and why you're thinking it, and are you thinking it too much detail for the people that you're trying to talk it to? Yeah,
exactly, all of the above, because it becomes into perfection. I want to get it right. I don't feel I'm enough. So there's all these fears that drive you, and to actually connect to who you are and actually what drives you. Yes, there's that passion, there's that, you want to do, but there's often an underlying thing as well that can drive you. And that is often that's where I made my mistakes, because I didn't understand ultimately who I was. In one way I did, but another way I didn't. So by managing my thoughts, therefore managing my time, therefore productivity, guess what? I'm a calm person. I'm more productive. I'm more aware of what I need to do. And therefore I connect better with people.
Yes, because I think when you're doing a lot like you are, or have been certainly in the past, everything can seem so important. Everything can seem so a priority, but then that becomes overwhelming because you think, well, where do I start? Where do I start with all this?
Exactly right. And what can happen is, you're right, because what can happen is two things. You do everything and not very well, or you bomb out and go, I can't do this anymore. It's all too hard. And particularly when we are in small business or in businesses that are growing, and particularly like I think us in the health and wellness, I mean, I know I've got a good mind. I know I'm bright. I know I'm good at what I do, but I also know I'm bright. But I find tech very difficult and frustrating.
Yes.
So here I am trying to get out there my message and who I am and work on myself. Yet I'm also trying to look at us this morning, or look at me this morning rather, trying to get onto this. I'm using my partner's laptop, and that started to feed in, oh my God, I'm going to let her down. What am I going to do? What are people going to think? But hey, you know what? I'm not a techie girl. You show me what I need to do, fine. I'm not interested.
Yes. And
however,
I think that
I have to be, sorry.
No, go ahead.
This is what happens this is when coming back to when you made meditation, you don't interrupt people because you get so excited.
No,
you become mindless. I don't even what I was going to say.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say there in terms of technology, it isn't everyone's ball game. We have things that we really do really, really well, and things that we like to do, and things that we can do. And sometimes there are things which, as part and parcel of, for example, doing Facebook Lives, is dealing with a side of it, which is the technological aspect of it. Yeah. So although, you may be full of great content, and be able to present that really well, and have that great presence on screen, sometimes it's the things that you don't know about that can cause the bother, which is, what browser are you using? What kind of device are you using? What app are you using? Are they all compatible? And it's a lot of things. If you're not well versed in that, it can create a lot of tension, can't it?
Oh, it sure can. And tension, and therefore you don't feel enough, and then suddenly you become aware of how you look. Is my hair right? So all these things become heightened. I mean, yes. I know I'm a positive person. I know I'm comfortable with who I am, but suddenly I'm on a screen. Suddenly I'm not, and particularly I've talked about this a while ago with someone, when you're spiritual, yes. And you're meant to remain calm. People have this sense, you're meant to calm. No, I'm not always calm. I'm not always, feeling at peace. I also have my emotions where I can get angry or frustrated or whatever. But then that affects my productivity, of course. But if I have these techniques I can put into place, like tapping, so I could say now, even though I'm anxious sitting here with Karen, or beforehand, I can just tap into it, just go, okay. And then what that does is bring my energies into this beautiful space and be here with you.
Yes. So you're tapping, is it EFT? TFT?
Yes,
EFT?
Yeah.
Do you use that? Do you use that proactively when you know things are going to be stressful, or is it kind of more reactive? I'm feeling stressed. I'm aware of that. Now I'm going to do this to bring that more under my control.
You can do both. You can do both, because obviously it can be reactive. So I could be sitting here. So if someone was anxious about talking and you could feel the anxiety happening, all you need to do is tap. And the wonderful thing about this is you can't see that I'm tapping. So people don't need to feel uncomfortable. So I could actually be just tapping, going, all right. Or it could be knowing that I'm coming on to, you're knowing you're going to need to do something or face someone or make a phone call, whatever it might be. You can see, I have my morning routine. So I check my day, how do I want to be, how do I want to feel? So if I'm going, oh my gosh, I actually got to face something today, whether it be interview or finances, whatever it might be, I'll just sit back and go, okay, let's just see what's coming up for me. Well, how do I want to feel? And then that way I can actually face it. And then you change your mindset around from fear into faith, or fear into trust, or fear to just doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And tapping's a really easy, I do tapping too, and teach tapping. And it's a really easy, actually very, very quick to change the way you feel, isn't it? And like you say, it's not something you have to look silly about. You can even do it. I mean, and you know, you could do it wherever you are, and people don't necessarily see that you're doing it. Even so, if you're about to give a presentation in public, or you know, going to an exam or something, you can easily do it very discreetly, can't you?
Oh, exactly right. All these things can be done discreetly. And that's why I love, meditation, as you may know, is more the act of sitting quietly, just opening your mind up. Then what I do is, I love that word mindfulness, because most of us are mindless because we're so busy. We actually, and mindless, I just mean we're not being aware, we're trying to micromanage and do too much. What I love about, that's the other part about being productive, is I no longer try and do 3 or 4 things at once. Because as soon as I do, guess what? Mistakes happen. I have to repeat. I'm not fully present. And if you're working with a client or with someone, they know energetically. So I might be looking at you, but I could be thinking of something completely different. You know, and then that way you don't have that wonderful connection, you know.
Sure. Yeah. So just to summarize, we talked about a good few things today: is being mindful, being aware, and not just being aware, but doing something either proactively or reactively to manage that in the moment, to try and change the way you feel quite quickly and rapidly, to enable you to feel differently. And then when you feel differently, your thoughts and your cognitions become a lot clearer, and you're concentrating more on one thing rather than trying to do a whole bunch of things.
That's exactly right. And then just to add to that, if you are feeling overwhelmed or you're pushing your boundaries, which is what most of us do when we're in small business, what happens is that you may not be more productive on that day, but what you do is you get a start happening. You know, able to sit down and go, I'm actually going to do this no matter what. I can actually sit here, because when I go into anxiety or feel whatever, I can either take a breath, you know, even just go and get a glass of water. So you know the techniques, and then you get sense your body when you're going into anxiety. So that's the last thing, or just you get to sense that in your body, is your heart starting to palpitate, get sweaty, or you know, whatever it might be for you. Or you know, in the old days I used to get violent migraines and cold sores because I was stressed.
Yes.
You know, I don't get those anymore. You know, I might have so that helps with that as well when you're going through something. Okay, and that helps you keep going through.
Sure. Awesome. Well, you've got a lot of great tools and techniques and talent that you've shared with us today. How can people get a hold of you to learn some of these wonderful things from you?
Well, you can either contact me through Facebook, Unfold Your Freedom is my business, or I have a website, unfoldyourfreedom.com.au, and I have various options. And if you'd like to have, like, you know, the 15-minute clarity call just to see if I'm the person that to work with what I offer, or, you know, just go onto Instagram and just get a feel for who I am. And then that way, because I think something like with the work that we do, important, so it's personal but not personal. You need to like my energy, my voice, how I speak, and that way, that's when the magic creates, is when you've got that trust and we trust each other. Sure. You know, start following me, you know, getting a sense of who I am. I have, you know, like another way, really good way of doing it is even book a one-on-one guided meditation with me. It's 20 minutes, and that way you get a feel again for who I am, and I can give you a couple of quick techniques what you can do to get you through the day.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a great pleasure meeting you, and I'm going to share a lot of your ideas on the show notes after this show. So yes, have a great and productive day, and I look forward to speaking to you more soon.
Yeah,
Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.
Hey, awesome. Hey, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I certainly have. We do pack in a lot into 15 minutes, and I promised you would learn some great gems of things during the show, and you certainly have. There's lots of ways in which you can get ways to manage your productivity better. So if you want to know more about saving time, energy, money, or better still, making most of what you've got in terms of time, energy, and money, then come along to our STEMGo Saving Time, Energy, and Money Facebook page. There's also more and more details on the tips, advice, content, etc., etc. loads more stuff that you can actually get your teeth into. So that's all for me for today. I do wish you a very productive and happy day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.